Hello everyone. Continuing on the series of Azure versus AWS versus Oracle Cloud comparison, today's video we're going to talk about networking and edge service mapping. And we're going to, as the previous videos, we'll be going into the comparison as well as show a demo of each one, how it looks. If you have any other questions in terms of the other comparisons, please watch the prior videos as that will provide a context of this series itself. So without further ado, let's jump in and get started. Now, this is where the comparison is of the network edge service, and especially for the networking, where we would be creating a virtual network in AWS, the terminology is to call it a virtual private cloud. In Azure, the terminology is to call it a VNet or virtual network. In Oracle, it is called virtual cloud network. So in case you would be getting this question that, okay, or somebody would be saying it's a VCN, if you have been working on AWS or on Azure, you would instantly realize that it's kind of the same thing. It's just the virtual private cloud. And what is a virtual private cloud? It's just a logical isolated network within the cloud environment that would allow for secure communication between virtual machines and other resources while managing network configurations and security policies. So now let's go and show what exactly is, how does it look in
this is what is meant by the comparison.
Okay, so I'm here in AWS.
Cloud. This is
now,
a very basic setup.
What you see over here is this is the portal. This is like everybody would have been accustomed to seeing this portal. What you would do is in AWS, what you could just simply come here and choose a VPC. You could just see here the setup, and you could come here in the VPC and go here in the different options that are there. You could create a VPC here, and you could choose the CIDR, and this is where you're probably better off if you're using console. You could just use this option, VPC and more, but ideally you would want to use infrastructure as a code, Terraform. But if you just want to do it quickly, you could use this option. You could provide these settings here. So AWS has made it a lot more simpler compared to the initially is, where we had to write a code and do the content networking, so they made it kind of very, very streamlined. So you could see this is a very simple setup for creating a VPC. And if we go back, you see there are a lot of options in here. In VPCs, it's you have the subnets, route tables, and there are tons of other videos. Other people have kind of made a lot of information. You could check those out. I won't go into details. But if you have any questions, anyone, drop in a comment, and I'll be more than glad to make another video on the same. So in Azure, this is where we are. And what we'll do is we'll just go to the VNet. What we'll search as VNet. And there you go. You will see this is the virtual network. It's nothing. It's the same. And you could come here. You could create a virtual network. I don't have anything in Azure, but you could come here and create one. And similar to, you'll have to choose a subscription. Like in AWS, you have an account. This is a subscription. You could check the prior video for the comparison. And you could give the subscription name over here. You could choose the resource group. Resource group is nothing but a logical grouping. Provide any of the instance details. Yeah, this is the virtual network name. Sorry, I got confused. You could give it the test virtual networks. And I could give YouTube. You could choose the region similar to it. And here you would choose the security, the encryption, if any bastion you need, firewall, any IP addresses you need that you could kind of provide, and you would try it similar to AWS. You would try the CIDR block, the tags, you should have tags, and review and create. So pretty much standard. That thing out of the blue, it's a basic networking concept in both AWS and Azure. Now let's check out Oracle. How is it going to look in Oracle? So in Oracle, what we would be doing is you would be coming over here and choosing VCN, and there you go. You see you have the option here. You could come here, or you could also choose from this option here, virtual networking, and you could choose the virtual cloud network setting here. I have a VCN created, probably shouldn't, but you could come here. It's the same concept. You could give it a name, like say if I give test YouTube, you would need to give the DNS label over here. And this is where it's good if you tried this DNS option, but it's similar. You just need to provide the setting. And this is how you could kind of connect to your applications where there's DNS. If you have any IPv6, you could choose this option. And right? Like the other settings that would be there are the IPs, CIDR block. This is where I was looking. You could give these option here, 10.0, whatever you want to do. I'd give 24 or give 16 and or 32, or not 32 actually, 27, whatever CIDR block you want to choose. You can go about choosing it. I hope you all know what is a CIDR block. It's a passless inter-domain routing. And again, there are a lot of videos over there, how you could do it. You could just, within Google, you'll get a ton of information about CIDR. So I hope this provides a basic information. And let's go back to the comparison. The second one is the dedicated private connectivity. Now, what is a dedicated private connectivity? Essentially, it provides a secure, high bandwidth and reliable connection between your on-premises infrastructure and the cloud provider. That will bypass the public internet. It'll be more secure, as well as you'll have a better performance and security. And one of the key things is that this private connectivity usually is done by a telecom provider, and usually it is optical fiber cables that would be passing between your data center to the cloud data center, and that is where the connection is there. And now let's get into what are the products that are supported for AWS Direct, like for AWS, Azure, and Oracle. In AWS, the service is called Direct Connect that you would be using for setting up. In Azure, it is called Express Route. And for Oracle, it is going to be Fast Connect. So let's see this. Now, this is going to be a little more specific to the settings. Let's check it out. So in AWS, what you could do is you could navigate to Direct Connect. Then you connect directly from AWS. You could create a connection here. You could use the connection wizard, or you could use the classic option. And this is where you come here. You could provide the maximum resiliency, high resiliency development and test environments. You could do the setup, and they have given a nice diagram as well, how the diagram is going to work. They show the region and your data center that you could provide over here. And if you hit next, you can choose the bandwidth. What is it bandwidth you need? You have all these options out here. I'll just choose for this, I'll just choose 10 Gbps, and you could provide the first location. What is the data center location? Over here, these are a few of these options listed over here, or the setting. If I choose one, let me choose the Newark one, and my first location, service provider. Now this is where the data center people will better off hooking with AWS support, as well as the local telecom provider who manages the data center to ensure that they have all this data properly provided. But over here I can choose AT&T, and you can choose the second location if I choose Virginia, and the service provider that we choose is probably Verizon. Then we choose Verizon here, and this is all sample, right? So you would need to work again, and you could try this and create. Now this is where the setup would be done, and you could have Direct Connect tried it. Now let's check out Azure, how it will be for Express Route. So in here, I will come and type in Express Route. And this is where tried this option. And this is like over here, I could try creating one, Express Route. And like over here, the same settings you see. What is the resiliency? Like similar to AWS, you want to have maximum resiliency. That is, you could connect across 2 or more distinct edge locations. You want high resiliency, standard resiliency. In similar to AWS, say if I want to use this option, and then they have given, similar to AWS, they have given a diagram depicting how the communication is going to be. And you would have the existing circuit, or you want to create a new one. If you already have one, I'll just choose a new one because this is for demo purposes. The region that you want it to be, the circuit name, I'll just give test YouTube. And this is where you want to have a provider, or whether you want to have a direct setting. Over here, you need to work with the telecom provider as well as with Azure support in this case to set it out. Provide rate limiting. You could have all these configurations over here. You could try 10 Gbps for her, go to around 100. And like in AWS, you saw there were a lot more options there where you could go to 400 Gbps. So that is one of the difference that you would want to consider for AWS and Azure. And this is the circuit name. You try the circuit name here, whether you want a provider or direct in between. And you could see you have all these options here. What is the port type? That is, if you're connecting to a service provider in order to access Microsoft's network, you could have this option provider, or you could have the direct. So the portal has made it a lot more intuitive for you to kind of come in and check. And for your benefit, this is what the exercise that we had done to come up with this comparison. And the bandwidth you see over here, whatever bandwidth was chosen, is the same here. And this Q, bidding model, you could have the tags option and view and create. This will have your express route set up. Now let's check out how Oracle will look like. So in Oracle, what I will have to do is I'll have to choose Fast Connect. And this is where you go. You choose Fast Connect to here. Now you could come in, you could create Fast Connect option. And this is where it'll give you the option. You could choose Fast Connect Partner or Fast Connect Direct if you want a dedicated connection, or if you already have a relation like with the Verizon or AT&T. I'll just leave this as now. Whether you want high availability redundancy or just you want a single setup done, I'll just choose this one for now. Choose Next. I'll just choose Test YT. And this is the partner. You could choose the same partner like how it is. You would want to choose your partner, whether it's AT&T and how is it. And whether you want the virtual circuit, whether it should be private or whether it's public. Ideally, you would want to choose a private for enterprises. Public, obviously, if you're an enterprise, you would better off go with private only. And this is where you would see you could have this saved as a stack, which is again infrastructure as a code. It'll be generating, Oracle will be providing, but you could have the create option as well. And it will spin up the setup for you. After that, you would have to coordinate with your networking provider, with Azure or Oracle support in this case, to ensure no issues. So you see it's kind of similar in all three clouds. The connectivity from their cloud provider data center to your enterprise data center. So now let's go to the next comparison. The next one is site-to-site connectivity, which essentially establishes a secure direct network connection between two geographically separated locations or data centers, thus enabling seamless communication and data exchange. How do you do that in AWS? You can have VPN. Azure also has VPN gateway, and in Oracle it's called VPN Connect. So let's check it out. How does it look in the portal? So in Azure, in AWS, this is where I can come in here and I can choose here in the VPC, like the one that we were earlier. I could go here and choose VPC, and in here you could choose VPN connections. You could come here. There should be an option, VPN. Yeah, so you see you have all these options over here. Which option do you want? Whether you want a virtual private gate like a site-to-site VPN connection, or you want a client VPN connection, or whether you want a customer gateway. In this case, the one that we are going to be choosing is, we could have either one over here, but let's just say we want to have a site-to-site VPN, right? Where one site needs to connect to the other site, like say employees in one location. They want to connect to, like say, employees in India location. They want to connect to the data center in US. So that is where this VPN could be used. And you could come here, you could choose the create VPN connection, give a name, and test, like YouTube. You would want to have what is a gateway? Is it virtual private gateway, a transit gateway? And no, there's no association. And if I don't have anything created over here, but I'm just like, this is where you could provide your virtual private gateway, then there would be like the customer gateway. If it is a new or existing, again, you would need to kind of work with your networking team to get your site or block or IP address of that VPN, which in the other location provided over here, any certificate to ensure there's end-to-end encryption. That is where you would be having the BGP Border Gateway Protocol. That is what you'll be having, routing options, the site or block, and the networking. And other additional options are there for tunneling. You could provide the options of tunneling, and this is where the tunnel 2 options, and if you want, you could have the monitoring setup as well. Now, if you want any more specifics on this requires a little more tedious setup, where you want to have 2 location setups. So that's right. There may be other videos that there or documentation should be helpful, but I hope this provides how you could go about spinning up a VPN in AWS. Let me show you how you do it in Azure using VPN Gateway. For the VPN in Azure, you would come here, you would choose, you could type in VPN, and you would see the first option here, which is connection, and this is where you will come in here. And this is the console for creating a VPN setup where you could connect to your virtual network by using a VPN gateway or express route. Now this is where you could have the create connection option here. And you will, again, similar to it's a similar standard way where you provide your subscription. You would choose your resource group that you want to provide, and you would provide the connection type, what you want. You want a site to site, you want a VNet to VNet, or if it has anything to do with express route, because even if it's express route, that is your data center to cloud, you could always have a VPN configured on that. And a lot of banking customers, because of the data requirement, you would want to have it VPN because it's end-to-end encrypted. And this is, you provide your bidirectional connectivity, name, region, and any setting that you require your first network gateway, your second network gateway. I don't have anything over here to show, but this is where you will provide the two networks that you want the connectivity. What is the authentication method? The keys, the protocol, and if you want border gateway protocol, it's again another important option here. Tags, you would want to have tags in place. After that, you could review and create. So this is how you could go about setting up site-to-site or like either VPN over the express route as well, set up over here. Now let's check out how is it going to look in Oracle. So in Oracle, what you could do is you could come here, you could do a search, and this is where you would type in VPN. It's kind of very intuitive. So just click here. You will see site-to-site VPN option. And it's pretty much going to be the same way you could do the VPN wizard. And I'll just choose this one just to show how intuitive it's going to be. Now, similar to resource groups in Azure, AWS has this, Oracle has the compartment setting. And if you want a comparison, you could check the prior videos. But you would have this, the availability check, the subnets and security. And they have given over here what are things they're going to be doing and providing the site-to-site VPN, customer premises equipment, and you can create after that. So this is where you will have the VCN here. You could choose the VCN. What is the dynamic routing gateway you want? You want an existing one or you want to create a new one? Obviously, I'll have to create one because I don't have any internet gateway. And after that, I can choose next. And this is where you would choose your subnets, what you want to do. And after that, I hit next. And then the customer premises environment, I could choose. I don't have anything. I think it's going to give me an error because I need to choose a subnet. So this is where, but you could, I think you get the point that how intuitive it is in all three clouds to spin up a VPN. There would be some networking configuration required that you will have to work with the networking team to ensure no issues. So now let's get back to the next comparison. So next is DNS and query management that involves controlling and resolving domain names to IP addresses, and that efficiently manages the DNS queries to ensure reliable and fast access to web resources. In AWS, what do? You have Route 53. You would have heard this name a lot. In Azure, I guess the marketing team was kind of bored. They just kept the name DNS, nothing much. But also there's a traffic manager also. That's akin to Route 53. In OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, they have it as DNS as well, domain name system and traffic management. Guess their marketing team also couldn't find something much more like Route 53. So let's check it out how each one looks like. So in AWS, what you would do is you would go to Route 53. And this is where you could check it out. And here this is global. There's nothing region specific. What I have is you have 4 hosted zones. You have hosted zones. Essentially, they have the mapping over here for the namespaces. That's what you could choose here. We have a lot of applications here for our customers. That's where it is. And inside the collections, registered domains that you could do, and VPCs and points. So this is where you have a lot of options for the Route 53 setup. So you could kind of purchase domains and you could do all the routing and DNS configuration as part of the setting. Let's check out how is it going to be in Azure. So in Azure, you would come here and you would search for DNS zones here. And this is where you could, Azure, it's a hosting service for DNS domains, and you could choose this option. You could create a DNS domain. And you choose the resource group subscription. You give it a name, and I could choose like say test YT out here. And I could have this like you could provide for additional options. You want to have the DNS zone file that you want to use, and you could copy your DNS zone editor here. Essentially, you will have a lot more you could have the similar options as AWS provides as well. And now let me show Traffic Manager. So in load balancing, you have this option of a Traffic Manager. And what Traffic Manager, it's essentially the DNS-based traffic load balancer that allows you to distribute your public-facing applications. So this is where you can come in and do the Traffic Manager options. This is any Route 52. You would just could do it here itself in this console, and you would probably come into the the profile setting here to do it. But Traffic Manager is another option you could do for the DNS setting here. Now let's check out Oracle. So I won't go into the detail of this setting. It's kind of the same setup, but let me now move on to Oracle. And likewise in Oracle, I would choose here, and I could choose the zone setting here. And this is where you would be creating the zone. Now, you could do the manual, or you could import a zone here. You could choose the zone name, right where, what exactly, like what the domain name is going to be, particular space, the compartment, and you can create, and you will have to do the mapping here for the namespaces. So that is where you will have to choose what mapping, what record set is what required, do the setting. But each one, you have the nice domain option. AWS has a lot more options compared to Azure, like an OCI. But yeah, you could kind of have this up, like all three GUIs available. So I hope this is provides you a little bit of option in terms of for how exactly to go about it. So now for the load balancing, what is load balancing? Essentially, it distributes incoming network or application traffic across multiple servers or resources to ensure high availability, optimize performance, and prevent overload on any single server. So in AWS, it's called elastic load balancing, and then other options. In Azure, it's load balancer or app gateway, and OCI, it is just plain load balancing. So let's check it out how it is in the portal. So in here, what I would do is I would come in AWS and I would choose load balancing, or I could also type pip ELB, probably not ELB, load balancing. And this is where you would have this option here. You couldn't have the option, and you could choose this create load balancer. And you see you have multiple options. You have an application, you have a network, as well as you have a gateway load balancer. Majority of the time you would want to use application load balancer for your setup, because if it has layer 7 setting, and networking is for layer 4. You would want to use for networking, like say SFTP server you want to expose via the internet, you could look into that, or where you want little low latency. And then you have a gateway load balancer when you need to deploy and manage a feature third-party virtual appliances that support Genie. If it's a new setup, it's something majority of the times you will not need to do this. And this is where you have the classic load balancer, something if you have the previous VMs in case you haven't migrated yet. This is a load balancer that we used to use earlier. So this is the load balancer in AWS. Let's check out how is it in Azure. In Azure, what you could do is you could come here and you could choose the go to load balancer, and you could have this setting here. And likewise, you see you have these multiple options here. You have the app gateway, you have the front door and CDN profiles, and you have the plain vanilla load balancer. So essentially, this is the load balancer that enables your applications to be highly scalable, available. It's going to be the similar setup. I won't go into details of this, but you could come here, you could create your setup, you could write the standard public internet, whether you want it internal or external facing. The same settings are also there in AWS. It's no different, so you could have this option here. And if I have to go back, you have also the app gateway. App gateway is primarily for layer 7, gives you application level routing and load balancing services. You could check it out. Front door and CDN, it's like CDN is its CloudFront is there for CDN. So this is where it's going to be that we can check those options out as well. And then I hope this is good. And then the application gateway, I think we already covered. So now let's check out Oracle. How does it look like in Oracle? So now Oracle, you would come here and go to load balancer. And you also see you have these options. You have a load balancer, you have a network load balancer. And you could do you see you have this network load balancer, regular load balancer, which is layer 7. Network is layer 4. You could have this. If you do a layer load balancer, you have all these options here, configurations, where you have a public, private, bandwidth, reserved IP, and this setting is available here. So I won't go into details again. It'll be a pretty lengthy video otherwise. And likewise, for the layer 4 networking, if you come in here, you will get the lot of options. I think it just went back. So this is for the load balancer option. Now let's get to the other comparison. So now let's check out their managed email delivery service, which essentially provides a scalable, reliable platform to send and manage email communications, including transactional and marketing emails, with built-in features for deliverability, analytics, and compliance. AWS has simple email service, also called SES. Azure, there's nothing native, but you could check it out from the marketplace. There would be third-party solutions that you could leverage. And Oracle it is, OCI, or Oracle Email Delivery. So let's check out how both of them looks like. So for in email, for AWS, this is where you could just come in here, you could type in SES, you will get this option, and you could get this started, provide the email address that you want it to be, the verification email address will be sent, and then you follow the wizard, do the next steps. We use it a lot, I think, and if you wanted details of SES, you could check out the prior videos that will show you how to do the setup. So let's see in Azure, if on the marketplace email, if I do, you will see this options here, email communication services, right? But it essentially, what it does is provides email for your applications for transactional bookkeeping, but it is not like sending the emails that SES is going to be doing. Now this is where it provides integration of email capabilities over here. And this is the option out here, but other than that, it's not like as advanced as AWS is. So let's check out how it is in Oracle, and let's see if there's any other third-party services you could look into. You could look into these. Trello is very popular. You could look into Trello, and now there's options to check it out. And then in Oracle, what you could do is you could come here, choose the email. So this is the email delivery option in Oracle. Have this setting here. You could do the configuration. You need to select the domains. Something it needs to be configured. If you come here in the configuration and you have this SMTP sending information, you will need to have this email domain done, and you will have to create the email domain as part of the verification. Similar to SES, you will have to give the domain name that you want it to be configured. So these Oracle and AWS provide the email options, while Azure, you have to kind of better out looking at a third-party service. Now let's check out the few comparisons left. So firewall, essentially the WAF firewall, it filters and monitors HTTP or HTTPS traffic to protect web apps from common threats and vulnerabilities such as SQL injection or cross-site scripting or any of those OWASP. If you check it out, search for OWASP, OWASP, they have a bunch of routes that you should be incorporating to ensure your web apps are safe. And this is where in AWS what we have is we have a WAF, which is Web Application Firewall. Azure also same name, Oracle also same name. Everybody just kept the same name over here. So let's check out how each one looks in the setting. In AWS, what you do is it's kind of simple. You just go here, you choose WAF setting, and you choose this option to have this web ACLs. It says access control lists that you could provide, and you could create these, create web ACL here. You could provide the region, whether you wanted global for CloudFront distribution, because you will have the WAF tied to whether it's a load balancer or a CloudFront. CloudFront is going to be global. So that's where you want to ensure this is properly set. You want to provide the name, and then you want to get into the rules group for this setting over here. So this is where you would be carrying for web applications. You could also narrow it down based on the IP sets. You only want to allow certain IP sets. You could do this as part of this setting. Switch to AWS WAF console. It is if you have to get into the older one. So this is another setting. You could do AWS Shield. It's more for DDoS, distributed denial of service. That is what you could check it out. So AWS is very mature WAF service that they provide. Let's check out how does it look in Azure. And this is where you come in here. You choose the WAF. You could have this group for the front door. You could write the WAF policies here. And if I choose the create button, this is where you could have for the front door, for essentially the CDN setup that you could do, or for the load balancers, you couldn't have it configured. So similar to AWS, you could have both of these settings in. And Azure, you would know there are different tiers. Based on the tiers, your pricing is going to change. And that's where the configuration is done in the AWS there, and there's no concept of a tiers. But you get this wizard. And after this wizard, you just follow the steps and configure your routes that are there. You have out-of-the-box routes. AWS also has out-of-the-box routes that you could just configure and check it out. So let's go to Oracle and see. And here, what you could do is you could come here. You could again type WAF. You could see the policies in here. And these are the policies or the rules that will be evaluated. You could create a WAF policy, and you could provide the actions. They are kind of, again, they provide a bunch of options that you could check. But there's a similar setup. You could have the access control. You could have the rate limiting option here. You could provide the protections in here. Any additional setup, the enforcement point, where it is, should it be enforced load balancer or any other setting. And we should be good with the configuration out here. So that's the WAF comparison. So the last comparison is for the DDoS. I touched base a little bit for AWS, and for DDoS, what is DDoS? It's a distributed denial of service to mitigate and defend or against attacks by filtering malicious traffic and ensuring the availability of network resources. So let's check out, because AWS what is called Shield. In Azure it's called DDoS protection, and same with OCI as well. Okay, so this is in AWS, and this is where we are. You see, this is the Shield one, where you could click here, and this is where you will have to subscribe. There's an additional cost going to be $3,000 per month for the DDoS setup here. And what they're going to be doing is there's going to be dedicated people that will be monitoring your traffic and ensuring that you could have the DDoS protection available in case your application is being attacked. And what are the things you could do, the monitoring, the governance, all that setup is going to be part of the Shield package. It's more of a governance setup than for denial of attack, but this is what you would be going about it. So let's check out how is it for Azure. And in Azure, this is where you would come and you would type DDoS, and you would choose the plan, how you want to do, and you could create a DDoS protection plan here, and you could provide the name, region, and you could have and apply to all the resources. You could have if you want, you could download a template as well. What exactly you want to have for the DDoS setting. Let's check out for Oracle. So this is where you could have, these are the documentation, but essentially you do anything in the policies only over here. So this is the place where you would have the DDoS setup done. And this is the one place that you could have it apart from working with Oracle support. So unlike AWS, Azure and Oracle, they don't have a dedicated, like a Shield setup, then they don't cost additional as well. It's kind of baked in to the pricing plan. But of course, AWS, if they're charging more, they would be ensuring that you have the right support in case you are being attacked. Overview about the network and edge service mapping. And you are able to get a good understanding about the different features or comparison points between the three clouds. So please like, subscribe, share the channel, and drop in a comment if anything is not clear. The same comparison, anything that is there is going to be part of a blog. You just need to kind of log into the blog. There is no credit card. There is no other information required. All that we want is because it wipe the spams or the bots. That is another measure. But please subscribe, and you could get access to all this comparison from the blog itself. Thank you, and have a good day.